today my topic is on Inbox Zero and getting things done. And first of all, thank you very much, Good Patch, for having me here. And I'm super excited, not nervous at all, to be on the stage here. And really excited to be here at the stage with Hans and Stein. And my topic today, before I got into the topic, a quick intro about myself. I am Simone. I'm a 23-year-old copywriter from Hong Kong. I moved to Berlin a little more than a year ago from Copenhagen when I was completing my thesis on cognition and communication. And before that, I was studying psychology. And I'm really interested in knowing how digital communication shapes the way we interact and present ourselves. For example, in my master's thesis, I looked at how Slack acts as an incubator, or how it shapes the way we form workplace friendships and interpersonal relations. And another project I was involved in before Berlin was Slowly. It's a really unique app. It lets you meet pen pals on your smartphone. And a lot of affordances of the app actually shapes the way user interacts. For example, instead of having maximum character length like on Twitter, Slowly actually makes you write a minimum amount of words before you can send a letter. Another feature is that depending on your geolocation, the letter would take longer to be delivered. So that's one of the selling point of Slowly, and it was really cool. It was a really cool experience. The app actually got featured on Google and Apple. And right now, I am with the amazing Mailbutler team. I'm working closely with the product team on UI, UX editing, and copywriting, and I'm mainly the content bridge between the user, the company, and the product. And Mailbutler is a Gmail and Apple Mail inbox extension for professionals and teams that adds a lot of more modern functionalities to your mail. For example, adding notes and reminders, adding scheduling features. And no matter your work hours or habits, it basically makes emails a little bit more flexible and usable. So yeah, so this is how it looks. It's an extension tool, so it integrates into Apple Mail and Gmail with a variety of productivity features. But back to my topic today first, Inbox Zero and getting things done. I used two really catchy buzzwords that have been around for probably I don't know how long, but are still actually quite relevant. And email is one of the first form of digital communication that we all adopted. And over the years, newer and fancier apps like, for example, Trello, Slack, that are more instantaneous, synchronous, and collaborative in nature kind of emerged. And for example, Slack have been trying to kill email since 2014. But the thing is, it's 2019, and we're still kind of stuck with it. And even though a lot of email apps have been trying to reinvent the affordances of email, for example, adding chat, adding collaborative elements into email, a large chunk of it is kind of still the same, and how we really see email is also not really reinvented in any way. And a lot of people still have the problems of not knowing how to really manage their emails or inbox productively. And so I'm sure a lot of people have heard of Inbox Zero. It's a strategical approach to email management to keep your inbox empty or almost empty in most times. And you can use any kind of filing, labeling, any strategies that fit you. And this term is really catchy, and it's actually led to a lot of email apps or task management apps that use Inbox Zero as the end goal of the user. For example, with Gmail, when the user has completed their email, the empty screen is well done, you're all done. And as well as for Todoist, there is this thing called Todoist Zero, where if you've completed your task for the day, you get a reward screen. And it's been around for almost 10 years, and just when you think nobody needs to talk about it again, this article got viral somehow beginning of this month, called The Case for Inbox Infinity. And basically the article just claims that we should accept that inbox zero is impossible and we should just embrace that. Just let it all go, let all the emails wash over you. And a lot of people jumped onto the bandwagon and started like taking pride in this infinity number in their inbox. And I personally think it's a little unproductive and quite absurd. Because if you actually think of the original commandments of inbox zero, it doesn't really say anything about really keeping your inbox empty at all time. It reminds you that your emails are not equal and your time is precious, and what you really should focus on is spending time on your emails or tasks that really moves your goals forward. So actually, inbox zero and inbox infinity are talking about the same thing. We still need email. We can't really ditch it yet, but there's better stuff to do. And inbox zero is originally influenced and inspired by Getting Things Done, which I think a lot of people also heard of it. It's a famous productivity method by David Allen. The idea is that it allows you to have 100% trust in an external system so that you can keep all your tasks that you should do, consider to do, or do right now. And it goes by having an in-basket of ideas, things that you might want to do, and then depending on your short-term goals, your long-term vision, you would either sort these tasks into actions or projects, and then put them in for next action or in near future. And in many ways, it's comparable to an agile planning or Scrum because you're sorting your tasks and sorting, think of it as like stories or an epics. But instead of for product development, GTD is more like a holistic model for sorting out your life tasks, including your inbox. And this method has been really popular, and it has really spawned an entire culture of productivity apps, organizational apps, guides, and it's continued to inspire a lot of product design. And I had a lot of questions about GTD, so I literally went to ask David Allen, the guy that invented GTD, and I had a lot of questions for him about inbox management, about how to deal with things, task overload. But he pointed out two important things that not only affected how I see myself managing my emails, but also tasks in general. Number one, the absolute worst thing you can do is to ignore your inbox or your backlog. Because when there's no next step, you will always be driven by your latest and your loudest. Number two, productivity is not about saving time to do more, but how much time, how much space you have in your brain to always do the right thing. Our brain is really lazy with linking outcomes with actions because it actually takes two parts of your brain, two separate parts. And so a lot of the times, the reason why we still have a lot of things in our inbox or a lot of ideas in our backlog is really because we're too lazy and we refuse to think of the actual next action that could be done for the email or for whatever task you are dealing with. And without a system like Getting Things Done, it's always going to be hard. And essentially, Getting Things Done or any task management method is about effective planning. And planning is actually so important that studies have found even if you have a really low motivation or even if you have really bad self-control, you just keep scrolling on your phone all the time. Just when you have, even if you have really low motivation, having effective planning can kind of compensate for your low level of motivation and self-control. And it can actually be a higher predictor of goal achievement. And it would be impossible for me to cover GTD and Inbox Zero, and there are tons and tons of resources online. But if you're interested to see my interview I did with David, you can also find it on our blog. And I also did an infographic about how you can use both Inbox Zero and getting things done. And a lot of Mailbutler's features are also designed to fit into a method like getting things done. For example, one that I personally use as well is reminders in Mailbutler. It lets you add tasks in your emails that you can directly sync with whatever task manager app, for example, Todoist. So in order for, by doing this, I can directly turn the emails into an actionable task. So it already links my outcomes with my actions, and then I can just archive my email. And this is one of the ways that having effective planning can save you so much time. And even though today my topic is about email and Inbox Zero, it might not be the most relatable things because a lot of us, including myself, including our team, we do not use emails as our main channel of internal communication. But it's really important to consider that some of the customers that we're serving, for example, users we're serving, all have different use cases of email. And it's important to also consider how to incorporate your own task management method into email communication. And creators, a lot of us right now tonight probably are also creators, makers, and people with great ideas. And we're often driven by our passion in doing what we love and serving our users. And we really value deep focus work. And we know that quantity don't really always matter. But sometimes, even with me, I'm really disorganized with emails and tasks because I don't really directly see it as something that affects my goals or that is actually working towards my goals. But sometimes it's exactly because things like emails are disorganized, they're actually hindering my progress. And since I'm the first person to talk about productivity and talk about a topic like Inbox Zero, I want to invite everyone to think of your inbox right now, not only your email inbox, any inbox, your project backlog, your Kanban backlog. Why is it there? Why are your ideas still there? And what is actually hindering it to become a next action? And I think only when you have a trusted system, like getting things done, to sort through chores like emails, only then you can really trust yourself to dive into deep work. And I think the mindset of getting things done and the mindset of clearing your inbox is not only applicable to something like email, but it's applicable to any type of task management. And I lastly want to end my talk with my favorite GTD quote by David. Only a truly relaxed mind can be given the freedom to make a lot of mess. And if you want to follow what we do at Mailbutler, you can follow us on all these social platforms. And if you want to know what I do, you can follow me on Twitter and my website. Thank you.
Hello. Now we have to exchange these because I need a bit more range than I get with the cable.
Sure.
Are there any questions? Yeah.
How do you monetize the extension? And if you monetize, then what are those premium features that make you even super more productive?
So we monetize our product for sure. It's a subscription model. So you, as a free user, you can use all the features. So apart from the reminder features that I mentioned, there's actually a lot more. So go back to here. So with the extension, you can integrate with your task management apps, your cloud services, for example. And there are extra features like read receipts and email scheduling. So this is how we monetize it as a subscription model. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Other questions? Well, I have also a question for you. So you're a copywriter.
Yes.
And yeah, how does this knowledge about getting things done and so on influence your copywriting style for Mailbutler?
Well, we are we're not really a small team, but I would say I'm also involved in a lot of different tasks for copywriting, big and small. So it really sometimes it really affects my productivity if I switch between different. Not only volume, but also the context. So sometimes there would be the developer coming to my desk like, hey, can you write two words for this button? And for them, it means, okay, it would probably only take 10 minutes. But for me, it's really hard to explain to them that you actually also need time. But with something like GTD, the most important thing is that you are actually trusting the system. So whenever someone is coming to you, there's a new task, instead of keeping it in your mind, you just write it down immediately and keep it as either a next action or in a project that you have to deal with later. And so I think having, I use Todoist with, I follow GTD, and I think it actually helps me switch between tasks. That is really crucial when you're working with a lot of different volume and context of copywriting. Yeah. Sometimes I'm switching between a blog post and then 2 lines of product description, and it's really hard to switch sometimes. Yeah.
Okay. Other questions? Yeah.
Do you have any means of integration with boarding tools like Trello or Jira or such tool? Any means of integration with Jira or Trello, any boarding tools?
We don't integrate with Jira, but we integrate with task management or project management apps like Trello. We also have an integration with Slack. So for example, with our email tracking feature, once your email is open, you can send, Mailbutler will send a notification to your Slack. And we also integrate with Asana, Trello, and Todoist, Wunderlist, and we keep expanding because essentially it's, as what I explained just now with the reminder, is directly turning your emails into an actionable task. So it fits completely with your workflow, whatever task management app that you are using. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Many thanks for your presentation. I used once the getting things done methodology, and I end up having so many tasks that I had tons of tasks. I was like, okay, and now?
Yeah.
How do you handle this?
So the way that in GTD, how you handle priority of tasks, which is I think one of the biggest difference with, for example, Scrum, is that you also evaluate the environment and your energy level. So the idea is that if you are overwhelmed with the task, it means that you probably haven't broken it down into small enough chunks that you can just work towards immediately. And it's a more holistic approach, I think, compared to just a strict project management approach. Yeah, and I think that's how, because I think most people are dealing with a long list of tasks, and the problem is that everyone is, so in GTD there's a capture stage, and then you capture all the ideas, and then you organize them, you break it down into actionable chunks. And I think the main problem right now is that we have a lot of ideas that we really want to capture, but we also have so much time. And the only thing that I think we should really focus on is that really evaluating and taking your time to review all these ideas that you want to capture. Are they all really aligning with your values? Are they all really aligning to the main goal that you're trying to achieve? No matter if it's project, no matter if it's your next product launch. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. One more question, maybe? Well, then I would like to finish this with a question about the future. So you said 2009, Slack set out to kill email. Now we have 2019. Where do you see email in 2029?
29.
Yeah.
I actually see email as being more and more focused as a reliable source of information. I think there are also, because I read somewhere that there is a newer form of newsletter service where you actually pay to receive the email newsletter, which is going like the opposite way of what we're doing now. Like there's so much email and we like subscribe to too much stuff. But I think with newer forms of apps, like for example, like I said, Slack, they are more collaborative and they're synchronous. It actually takes away a lot of unnecessary usage of emails. And I think the more apps that are designed to basically replace a lot of needs to use emails, like we don't need emails for like internal chatting anymore. The more we would really see email as a sole reliable and paced form of communication where we actually take our time to go through like emails that we want to receive and not just crap and spam and things like that. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So almost a renaissance of email.
I
Being
think
slow,
so.
important, and paid for.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Simone.
Thank you. Thank you